Hello there ladies and gentlemen, I am the Chall and welcome to another video where today we're having an inside look and a bit of a deeper analysis into some of the inside shots from the Curse at Alton Manor, which is opening tomorrow at the Alton Towers Resort. Now before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. Click the notification bell to Nemesis YouTube video. We are getting so close now on the road to 3,000 subscribers, and we are also on the road to 500,000 views. Let's get there as soon as possible. And for now, guys, let's talk about the Curse at Alton Manor at the Alton Towers Resort, opening this weekend. Since Duel opened in 2003, it became part of many childhoods to those who came to Alton Towers over the last couple of decades, similar to what the Haunted House did over a decade of operation during the 90s and early thousands.
So I think really, to be honest with you, Duel obviously had quite a unique sort of feel. It was very much attached to the sort of whole laser gun kind of fad that was sort of attached to the early sort of 2010s, early 2000s, not 2010s. So obviously, you know, rebranding at that time, it kind of fitted with the sort of trend at that time. But as it kind of went on, it obviously got more sort of unpopular, and it kind of got mixed reviews. I definitely feel like obviously it was quite sort of, it was very tacky but very fun at the same time, and I definitely feel like people will mostly remember it for that. Also kind of the interactive thing, and maybe just kind of sort of trying to get your scores, really. I think more than anything else, having fun with the family.
I think it leaves a huge legacy. It's been there for a very long time, and yeah, the Curse is built on the foundations of a world-class dart ride, which was Duel. So I think it leaves a huge legacy.
I think Duel will leave behind like a really fun legacy. I think it's a lot of people's first scary ride. There's not many dart rides at Towers, it's hardly any. So yeah, I just think it'll just be missed for how fun it was.
Many believe Duel's renovation has been long overdue.
It's long overdue. I would say a good sort of 5 to maybe 7 years in my personal opinion. I've been saying at least for the last sort of 3 quite vocally that something needed to happen with Duel. Effects have been down, things have been obviously broken. The trummel's been broken for a good, I think maybe sort of 4 or 5 years now. So it's nice that Alton Towers have finally decided to take the decision to rebrand this ride and give it the major sort of love and attention that it needs. I kind of think like obviously this is going to be quite an improvement, and it's nice to see them sort of heading back to the ride's original roots as well. So yeah, it's great to see it finally happening.
But some may think it's not too long overdue.
This might be controversial, but I genuinely didn't think it needed touching. I know that is controversial, but I liked it how it was. I thought it was fun. There are bits that didn't work, like the trommel tunnel has been broken since I can ever remember. But I liked it how it was. However, I am still extremely excited to see what they do next.
I don't know if this is controversial, but personally, I don't think it's too overdue at all, because I absolutely love Duel, and I still felt like, even though I'd done it hundreds of times, I still felt like it had that re-rideability. Maybe it was getting a bit old, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they have done this huge overhaul, and I'm really excited about it. But personally, I don't think I'd have been happy with it to stay the same. I wouldn't have complained whatsoever.
So for those of you that need an explanation, the Curse at Alton Manor is a haunting dart ride taking you on a hair-raising journey through the spectacular twists and turns within the Cursed Manor. The abandoned Alton Manor, repossessed under mysterious circumstances, invites you inside. Have your wits about you, uncover the story of Emily Alton, and ride deeper into the historic manor.
I love the name. I think it's a bit long, it's a bit of a mouthful. Like we were on about the other day, like what will we refer to it as? Will we say the full name? Will we shorten it to the Curse? Will we shorten it to the Manor? But yeah, I like it. I like that it's set at Alton Towers, like Alton Manor. Like I think that's really cool. I love the theme. It sounds very dark. I'm excited, yeah.
So to be honest with you, actually, I was quite excited. I like the whole sort of idea around sort of the possessed kind of theme they've gone for. Obviously, Emily Alton herself is quite an iconic character. She's been in that queue line for a long time. And obviously, even though we've only kind of sort of seen her as a ghost in that sort of little doll's house, it's nice that Alton Towers have kind of honoured that sort of time-honored tradition of having her and expanded on her story. I definitely feel like it's going to be a great kind of improvement. Obviously, it's going to offer something completely fresh to the ride. And sort of the Curse at Alton Manor, I kind of feel like there's a lot of things that are called the Curse. The Curse kind of seems to be a very common name to sort of kind of use. I mean, obviously, you look at what Chessington have done in theirs, but at the same time, it offers something kind of fun to the ride, and obviously kind of gives them the chance to be quite creative with the story, which in my personal opinion, it definitely looks like they've done that. So really good.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's great that they've stuck with like a classic haunted house style, and I think the name is great as well because, you know, they could have just called it the haunted house, gone back to its roots, or something vague like Duel. But I like what they've done. They've tried to already start that story with the name. You know, it's already referring to a curse. It's already referring to Alton Manor. So it's putting you in, it's situating you in that location as well. I think that's really good. And I think it gives us as fans and the casual theme park guests like a good insight into this is going to be a story-driven experience, or that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Visitors will appear to vanish in front of your own eyes. The resort have revealed in this new spine-tingling attraction featuring flying demons, levitating dolls and haunted chandeliers when it opens this weekend on Saturday the 18th of March 2023.
Well, I'm not sure on what we can expect, but I think if you have a look at the marketing, which they've done a fantastic job of, I think all of the posters and the videos, there's tons of Easter eggs in there. It's littered with them, which is great fan service, but it's also really good that it's good to see. And I think that'll continue throughout the ride. I think it'll be hard to spot, but I'm really looking forward to see how much of it I can get when I ride it for the first time. So I think we can see lots of Easter eggs, and I'm expecting from the tone of it as well, I'm expecting to be a little bit scared inside. I'm expecting it to be quite a spooky experience, to say the least. So yeah, but what I hope for, I do hope for the Easter eggs, so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm hoping for a cool audio experience. I'm quite biased, so I love my music, and I'd love to hear maybe like whispers from Emily, who they've been teasing in these trailers, and I'd love to see the rides experiment with some really cool audio. That'd be what I'm after.
We've had that kind of behind the scenes look today. The theme in itself looks really good. It really looks like they've taken their time to sort of think about what they're putting into that ride space. In personal sort of opinion, I think we're possibly looking at the kind of addition of a pre-show to the ride. I would certainly hope that they've kind of done that. It would fit with it, and it adds an extra depth of story to the attraction. It works really well with Wicker Man, have proven that. So something like that within the Curse at Alton Manor will certainly embellish on that story. But I think in all fairness, I think we're looking at a very eerie atmosphere. I think the use of sort of a good balance between obviously, you know, sort of special effects and physical effects as well. And also, as you've seen, there are quite a few nods within the ride to existing attractions or past attractions as well. So it's kind of nice to have added those in, kind of acknowledging the legacy that Alton Towers has, and obviously the legacy of the time that the ride's been at the park. So there you go.
I'm not expecting it to be completely, totally different, but I'm hoping to see some brand new scenes. I'm hoping for it to be quite dark, and just some really good theming, really good lighting, and a good soundtrack.
The original Haunted House attraction from 1992 and Duel the Haunted House Strikes Back had its legion of fans, and there's an increasing confidence that the Curse at Alton Manor is no exception.
If it's good, then yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see Towers do more dark rides. I love a dark ride. I also love what they've done with like all the marketing around the Curse at Alton Manor. I like all the hype that's been building for months now. Like they did the pop-up thing in London, and I think that it's cool, like gets everyone excited, and if they were to do new rides in the future, I'd love to see them continue that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a completely brand new experience. You know, they've been quite vocal about the fact that they are adding in new elements that have not yet been seen in the UK theme parks. I think the addition of the kind of sort of enhanced audio they've mentioned today in the press release we've received, I think that's very interesting. Look forward to seeing, obviously, how that pans out when we ride the attraction. And also the addition of kind of sort of all the projection mapping and the fun kind of effects and things they've used, and sort of almost having what looks to be half a ride where you're sort of at a normal size and then kind of shrinking the audience down for what looks to be the second part of the ride as well. It's going to be a very unique experience. I can certainly see this ride having its own cult following sort of moving forwards. As you say, the Haunted House had it, you know, sort of its cult following. Duel, not so much. You know, there's a lot of fans of it, but it never kind of had that cult status. But I definitely feel like the Curse at Alton Manor could potentially bring that back to the attraction. So yeah, it's definitely going to be fun with future generations.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's been built for that longevity. It's a classic haunted tale from what it looks and sounds like from what we've seen so far. So yeah, I think it's going to go the distance, and I do think it's going to win over a lot of people's hearts. Duel will be sorely missed, but I think this ride's going to be super special, and I can't wait.
So let's take a deeper look inside the Curse at Alton Manor and certain scenes that have been revealed through Alton Towers in social media photos inside the brand new attraction. Warning, spoiler alert. So here's picture number 1. Now this is a huge entrance gateway theming into one of the rooms, giving the feeling of entering a huge dollhouse to play the games of Emily Alton. It looks like you're about to enter into the first room in the house with some greyish stained looking walls. Now of course this may not be the start of the attraction, this could be a little bit further into the attraction. However, it definitely seems like it's the beginning of the attraction with the fact that you are entering that doll's house. And even though I can't particularly distinguish whereabouts in the old Duel ride this is, I do believe personally that this is definitely looking like a bit of a start to the attraction. You definitely won't put an enter into the doll's house, which is part of the main storyline, you know, midway through an attraction. You'd have it right at the start in logistic terms. So I would suggest this the start of the attraction. Picture number 2 shows different props circulating one side of the room in the scene, such as My Dream House and No One Can Ever Leave, as well as the Naughty Corner signs. Barrel with slime over the top gives vibes of creepy caves at Chessington World Adventures. A toy parts box was seen, which is looking kinda creepy right there, and it looks like some kind of playroom scene. Now this does give vibes of a playroom scene or some kind of activity room or activity scene. Now this gives off very creepy, play-like vibes, and it definitely seems like there's an element of mystery surrounding it, especially with these sort of toy parts and the spare parts for toys. It definitely gives that kind of making evil toys as part of the nightmare kind of vibe with this particular scene. Now picture number 3 shows more signs and theming, such as plans for my new mummy and daddy, which suggests the story could be based around an entity that wants to mould humans into new dolls for her doll's house. From the looks of it, the ride system is staying the same, which is the expectation of the ride, but it does give me vibes of the Gangster Granny in terms of the style and the setting of the ride system and how it's landscaped inside the building. Now what I mean by that is if you look at some of the scenes inside Gangster Granny and how the way it's been set out and some of the projections and some of the scene items and prop items on the corners are set out, and also the dungeon as well, the Alton Towers dungeon gives vibes of sort of different items in the dark during the boat ride and how it's sort of perched on the corners as the boat travels around it in a sort of circular motion. It definitely gives off that kind of vibe, bit of a Gangster Granny, bit of an Alton Towers dungeon where it's pretty much the items are in the corners. There are scenes where they will be dotted around the sides, however there are some scenes where you're going to have to turn a corner and there'll be some stuff in the corner. It definitely gives off that kind of vibe in terms of the way it's been landscaped compared to Gangster Granny the ride. Now then, the scene in question in picture 3 gives vibes of a dungeon room or a basement with the pins, including a corkscrew box, which hints at an old ride, if you know you know, and the wild mouse poison, which is an interesting item. So definitely sounds like a dungeon or a basement, kind of like a sort of spare part of the house where they keep some of the darker stuff, like the wild mouse poison, for example. So again, definitely a hint of a dungeon scene there in picture number 3, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Picture number 4, signpost on the floor saying, "I'll give you a wretched little creature," which could hint to the riders or a really dark part of the story. The cobwebs, the mannequins and the dolls surrounding the room makes it look like some kind of attic scene. Now of course, one particular part of the trailer that I noticed was the human turning into a spider, which is in a similar setting to what we can see in this particular scene. So this does give vibes of an attic scene and something about the spiders. Now we could see a modernised version of a spider effect like the one seen in the old haunted house or Duel. I believe that a modernised spider effect could be fantastic in this particular scene. A really nice scary animatronic. Picture number 5 looks like the return of an original haunted house scene. A scene from the original Haunted House attraction, vibes of the Grand Hall. It's a dining / Grand Hall scene. 2 of the undead sitting in an uncandle-lit meal with pillars and walls cracked around them, seeming to confirm still theming as well as animatronics and potential projections in the ride. Now a variety of effects and storytelling items to create a haunted experience the park wants to offer. Now this particular scene does give off really nice retro vibes, nice retro Grand Hall haunted house vibe scene. Now I believe there's some more secrets to this. I think there'll still be some extra stuff in it. You see the nice green lighting in the picture. Again, gives us some nice spooky, scary, undead vibes there. And I feel like the undead could play a part in this particular storyline for the Curse at Alton Manor as a bit of a little homage to Duel, the Haunted House Strikes Back, despite the removal of the guns of the ride. Left alone in the attic with nothing but her doll's house to keep this quiet but curious girl amused, Emily has become lonely and forgotten, hosted by her parents to the higher society. Echoing through the floors to the grand hall below, her hatred grew, fueled by frustration and bitterness. Dark forces began to surround Emily, becoming a vessel for the evil that has seeped into every corner of the manor. Now the ride is set to feature reportedly special effects, including projection mapping and mirrors that will play tricks on guests as they navigate the manor. So a lot of stuff to unpack in this video. Some stuff from the pop-up house that was there weeks ago, some stuff from the new storyline which was revealed in the previous week, some stuff from the inside shots that was revealed this week, and also there some thoughts on Duel, the Haunted House and the Curse at Alton Manor from the likes of Theme Park Insanity and Arch Nemesis, and also Parks at Pints as well. So overall, the Curse at Alton Manor is definitely going to be one of those attractions that absolutely rocks. It definitely sounds like it's going to be a fantastic attraction for all involved. What do I think of this attraction so far going into Monday's visit? So we'll be at Alton Towers on the Monday the 20th of March, 2 days after the opening day, because of course on the Saturday I am at Blackpool Pleasure Beach opening day to experience Icon, Pepsi Max Big One, all the big rides over there, and to see the progress being made of Valhalla ahead of its technical rehearsal next month. I'm definitely super excited about this Curse at Alton Manor at Alton Towers. I think it's a fantastic addition to the park. I believe we're looking here in terms of a style of ride and theme of ride, in terms of the category of audience for this ride. We're looking at a family horror dark ride, but definitely seems to be a lot sinister and a more scarier dark ride than a family one, but it seems to be aimed at family in terms of the actual ride system and kind of the sort of languages and the methods being used. It seems more family related. However, definitely the theme sounds a lot more scary than a family dark ride. I think we're looking at a Coraline type target audience for this attraction in terms of age range we should be expecting and what it is expected to receive going into the opening weekend. I'm super excited about this. I hope you guys are really excited about it as well. I'll see all of you down at Alton Towers on the Monday if you are going to be there. I'll see all of you down at Blackpool Pleasure Beach on the Saturday if you are down there. And for now, I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now.